balance says in the audit report, the financial statements, they are the balances. It's nothing else, or it's nothing different. Let me take you to page 90 all the way back. This is called a yellow book report or an internal control and compliance report. This tells if there are any significant deficiencies or there are non-compliance issues that we found in the city's financial statements. And per our audit, we didn't find any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal controls or compliance requirements. So another ace right there. And then if you can turn to page 92, please. This report is for if the city had federal awards over $750,000 during the year. Because there's a CDBG grant and the state revolving fund loan, so that we went over the threshold of $750,000. So this report also tells if there were any issues with federal requirements. Did we meet the federal requirements or we did not meet the federal requirements? Based on our audit, the city met the federal requirements and was in compliance with all those requirements. There are 12 requirements, just FYI. If you turn back now to page 18, please. As you know, the city has a minimum general fund balance policy of $2 million. And if you see the general fund column on page 18, the unassigned fund balance was $9.3 million. So you are way over the minimum fund balance requirement that you have established. The city overall is doing well based on the financial statements for the past fiscal year, and hopefully it will continue to do that in future too. If you have any questions, I'm available to take any questions. Otherwise, I would say I'm done.
Alderman, please feel free to ask any questions you have while he's at the mic.
I'm pleased with what you reported.
Thank you. I'm too.
Thank you. We've enjoyed you over the years, okay? Excuse the double mask, but I had it.
That's okay.
Any questions? Questions? I want to thank Ms. Lisa Crockett, our Finance Director and City Recorder. Y'all have worked well together in your department. There's many in your department that make sure all this is happening throughout the year, so we want to thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you do.
You're welcome.
We will move on to 1.5, our public hearing. Ordinance 20-24, an ordinance rescinding ordinance 13-13 in its entirety and amending Title 18 of the Springfield Municipal Codes entitled Water and Wastewater by rescinding Chapter 3 entitled Sewage Disposal in its entirety and substituting a new chapter entitled Sewage Disposal. If there's anyone that would like to speak for this public hearing, please come to the mic and state your name. You have 2 minutes to speak. If there's no one that would like to speak, the public hearing is closed. We'll move on to our legislative agenda. 2.1, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 20-23 on a third and final reading. Ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021's annual budget of the City of Springfield by amending certain general fund operating budgets. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard and a second by Alderman Green. Our city manager, Ryan Martin, would like to speak before we discuss this.
Yeah, so in your packet, you have an amended Exhibit A, so we need you to move to amend this ordinance to include the amended Exhibit A. You'll notice in your packet that the differences are for the cart path replacement. There were borrowed proceeds that were brought over, and for a dump truck for the street division. Lisa, did I? Okay, thank you.
She's here to make sure you do it right.
She'll correct me if I don't get it right.
We'll give you a pass tonight. This
Thank
is
you.
the first.
Thank you.
You can make an error tonight, but not anymore.
We have a motion to amend. We need a second.
We have a motion to amend by Alderman Hubbard and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Now, if you have questions to discuss. No questions? Y'all quiet bunch tonight.
On this amendment part, the wages overtime, that's just that one department.
I'm sorry, that's for the THSO grant, and that was on there prior.
Okay.
So they get paid overtime for the THSO expenses, time that they work.
It's just that one department.
It's just that one department.
Good question.
And it's just the amount of the grant. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office, we get that for extra traffic enforcement.
Other questions? Ready to vote on the amendment? Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
So now we need to go back and vote on the main motion
Yes,
as amended.
yes.
Any discussion? No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes. Oh,
Hold
sorry.
on,
What do we got?
it just locked up.
Okay. Give us 2 seconds for technical difficulties.
Okay, motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Operator.
It went on that screen instead of this one.
I didn't say it. 2.2, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 20-24 on a second reading, or ordinance rescinding ordinance 13-13 in its entirety and amending Title 18 of the Springfield Municipal Code entitled Water and Wastewater by rescinding Chapter 3 entitled Sewage Disposal in its entirety and substituting a new Chapter 3 entitled Sewer Disposal. To read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard and second made by Alderman Green. That was a lot of words. Any discussion, questions? I'm sure our new city manager would be happy to answer any questions on this.
Over all 91 pages of the sewer ordinance.
I feel sure that he's read every bit in his many jobs. No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.3, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 21-01, a resolution to declare certain real property surplus and authorizing its conveyance to the Robertson County School System. Do we have a motion? Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris, a second made by Alderman Gregg to discuss. Our school director Robertson County School Director is here tonight, Dr. Chris Causey, but I'm
Ask
sure
him to
that.
the podium, please. Dr. Causey.
I know we're gonna have a lot of questions about this piece of property, and Mr. Martin may wanna start first.
Yeah, I'll give a little, if you can hang out for just a second,
No, I'm
Dr.
good.
Causey.
Go ahead.
So Dr. Causey and I had spoken previously. He had reached out as the school system is planning to establish the STEAM, Robertson County Innovation Academy, the STEAM magnet school that we have here in Springfield. As they plan to expand that up to 12th grade, they need to be able to expand their parking and available facilities there. So we own 2 parcels there. One is the old swimming pool parcel that this was all in your memo in your packet, but one is the old swimming pool parcel, the other is the bottom, what we call the bottom, that in fact does not have road frontage on Kinney School Road, and I thought throughout all my years that it did have road frontage on Kinney School Road, but it is a landlocked piece of property. So Dr. Causey and the school board made a formal request at their meeting last week for us to convey those parcels to them in order for them to expand the facilities at Springfield Middle and accommodate the STEAM Academy. We're grateful that they would establish the STEAM Academy. That's a good, that helps out Springfield tremendously, and you could have placed that anywhere in the county, so we're appreciative of that. So that's kind of the backstory and the background on it, so if anyone has any questions.
Dr. Causey,
What?
I just wanna say before we get started with questions and quizzing you about this property, thank you for the job you're doing with our school
thank you.
system. I know that it has not been an easy year, And last year wasn't easy either with COVID, so thank you for what you're doing, and thank you
Well,
for what all
We
you've
see a
done.
light. You know, we do see a light at the end of the tunnel, and with vaccines coming out and whatnot, we think, I don't think we'll ever go back to normal. I think we've changed our normal and the way that we do things, and that's not a bad thing. So, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Y'all are doing a great job in a bad situation, and I know everybody wants to get back into school full-time, and
Yes,
I
ma'am.
commend you on what you're doing. It's not an easy job.
Thank you very much.
Questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Hubbard?
Yes, sir. How do you feel our children in that middle school category? Are they improving?
You talking about, I can't say a whole lot about the last year. I'll be quite honest with you. The disruption that we've had over the last year, I don't think you can put a whole lot of data to it. But I think as a whole, absolutely. I definitely think they're becoming more digital learners. But at the same time, I think we're doing a much better job at meeting them where they are. And that gap's getting wider. And COVID definitely didn't help. It's very hard to close a gap when we're logging in one time a week, when we're supposed to be logging in at every class of every day. We can only go to the house so many times, and trying to work through all of our community partners. We have a new grant now with United Way that's going to be able to get into the families even better. And because of that, I think it's going to get better. But over the last 12 months, it's been a little rough. Alderman, I will tell you. I won't lie to you. I'll say it's been rough. But I think as a whole, our middle schools are definitely doing better. Yes, sir.
No, not the need, but you know, this specialized curriculum.
Yes.
To put them on the same plane as other kids in the state of Tennessee. That's what I'm proud of.
Yes.
Right. And we do have, of course, plans to add that one grade at a time. That's why we've got a couple years, and that's why we wanted to start this process now. Now, mind you, parking's been an issue at the middle school for as long as anybody in this room has been alive. I think I could vouch for everybody. You just can't park there. So we looked at that property, and I found out today by looking at it, we were reminded, right now, we're already using part of that property. The road that goes behind the middle school where they park is actually on one of these parcels. And I don't think I realized it until I zoomed up real big. So, like I said, we'll be able, and we'll get engineers and architects on it to look at what we can do, especially as you go around the corner there, because there's a pretty big drop-off, and we're gonna try to clean that up as well. So
certainly
I think
have
we'll
my
make
vote,
it look
okay?
real pretty. Sir?
You got my vote.
Other
Thank you.
questions
Appreciate it.
while he's at the podium?
So it would be your intention to use the property in the bottom as parking? if you
Yes,
can?
sir. If,
That seems-
the thing is, we didn't want to touch it without owning it, and being able to get a surveyor out there to see what we can do. No matter where we put parking, there's going to be steps. I think
Yes.
So that's
I
gonna-
think we all know that.
Can't avoid that.
Can't
That'll be-
avoid that,
That'll be some distance from the bottom up to the school.
but we might, what is the distance?
I said that would be
Yeah,
some distance.
it is. And if we can bring in some dirt and help out with that, and just, it's going to be a construction project just to put parking.
Yeah.
So initially, the way this is set up, currently it's 6th through 8th grade.
No, sir, actually, it's eventually going to be 612.
That's what
So
presently it's
in the
6th.
fall, yes, sir, right now it's
Presently
6-8.
it's
It will continue to be Springfield Middle School, we believe, for the next few years, and that's because we'll still have middle school students in there that are not necessarily Innovation Academy. Because we don't want to ever swipe the rug out from underneath someone and say all of a sudden you've got to go to a different school. We would let those kids finish school there, if they so choose to. But we don't have any of that zoning done yet. We're meeting about that right now, very preliminary. But as we do finish Coopertown Coopertown Elementary, and we have space at Coopertown Middle, we are working on some zoning things to fill about 200 seats at that school that we think are coming.
And then currently, Mr. Martin, we have been maintaining this property.
We have been maintaining both parcels. We've been mowing our, and I may get this backwards, but our Parks Department has been mowing the bottom, and our Public Works Department has been mowing and maintaining the old swimming pool property.
And that would become part of ours. We're actually redoing our mowing bed in the spring, and those two parcels would become part of Springfield Middle School and our mowing bed.
I received comments from time to time as far as, a lot of people think that the city itself is involved in the day-to-day operation of the school system, which that comes under the county.
Right.
But I would think for the city of Springfield, this would be one of the least things that we could do to assist our schools that are within our city limits.
I do appreciate that.
So
Thank you, sir.
I would be glad to support it.
Well, we can partner as much as we can and help out any way we see that there can be a good partnership. Any other questions? Comments? Thank you, Dr. Cosby.
Thank you very much. Thank
Appreciate
ladies
you
and
being
gentlemen.
here. I know you're very busy.
Is this a one vote deal? Doesn't take three votes.
No, it's a
Just a
resolution.
resolution.
Any other discussion?
Ready for the vote?
We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. You're welcome. 2.4, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 21-02, a resolution authorizing an application for the Community Development Grant funds to be used for the wastewater treatment plant upgrades. We have a motion by Alderman Hubbard to discuss and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Questions? Any questions for our city manager? No questions?
Is it any particular plant, or is it all just in general?
It's for the wastewater treatment plant. We're gonna be, if we are able to receive the grant, we're gonna be using it to replace our existing blowers at the plant, which are about 25 years old. And, so this will be a much needed upgrade. It's something we hear from our, engineering consultant quite frequently that would help tremendously. So,
Terry, is everything you got old?
Well, and this is just to apply for the grant. This does
Right.
not mean that we will get the grant. Want to understand that the public to understand that this is just to put in the application.
They require a resolution with the application showing that the governing body supports it.
Any more discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.5, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 21-03, a resolution accepting an irrevocable letter of credit from Clay Jones in the amount of $333,191 in order to guarantee the completion of streets, drainage, and electrical improvements in Bellhaven subdivision. We have a motion by Alderman Gregg and a second by Alderman Arnold to discuss. Any questions? No questions in discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.6, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 21-04, a resolution accepting an irrevocable letter of credit for Zimmerman Properties LLC in the amount of $535,130 in order to guarantee the completion of streets, drainage, electrical, water, and wastewater improvements in the flats at Moreland subdivision. We have a motion made by Alderman Hubbard and a second by Alderman Arnold. Questions?
Is this a new section of Moreland?
No, sir, this is gonna be a multi-residential development on Moreland Drive. It'll be in the vacant, land. If you're going, I guess, west on Moreland, then it will be to the right. It's a vacant area behind that area where the probation office was or is. It's a pretty good large, property there that, Mr. Moore is gonna be selling to this development group, to develop a 74-unit multi-residential complex.
Comment from the Alderman. I've always wanted that, developed.
Okay. Other discussion? Questions? No other discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.7, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 21-05, a resolution authorizing the issuance, sales, and payments of approximately $26,970,000 in the principal amount of general obligation refund bonds of the City of Springfield, Tennessee, and provide the levy of taxes for the payments of debt service on the bonds. We have a motion by Alderman Hubbard to discuss, and a second by Alderman Green.
Some explanation, Mr. Martin.
Sure, so this is a fancy way of saying for non-finance people, non-CPAs like myself, a fancy way of saying we're going to refinance some bonds at a lower interest rate and save a lot of money. The net savings, or total savings of this looks to be about $1.8 million by refinancing to a lower interest rate, and that's what they're called refunding bonds. And so this is a tremendous opportunity for us, and you can see, and if Ms. Crockett wants to add anything, she's more than welcome to, but it's a considerable savings. A lot of that savings, about 70%, will be to the wastewater fund, which is where we really need the savings right now. We borrowed a considerable amount of money for the rehab project, and so to be able to save money on some of these bonds would be tremendous and help the net position in the wastewater utility fund.
We'll take your word if she says it's correct.
She's the CPA, so she can,
He's already said he's the non-CPA.
right.
The bean counters of the world are saving us a lot of money right now, so we better get this done quickly, in my opinion, since I'm a bean counter. Any questions? No questions? We're ready for vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
2.7. Oh, we've already done that. I didn't mark it off. See, I'm just trying to make sure everyone's awake. 3.1, discuss and possible take action on the adjustment of the retail electric rates for the Springfield Electric Department due to a wholesale fuel cost adjustment by the Tennessee Valley Authority. Do we have a motion to discuss?
So like last meeting, you said you wanted me to lower our rates.
Hold on just a second. Our motion was made by Alderman Hubbard and our second was by Alderman Green. I like your enthusiasm, so I assume that you're going in the right direction.
Been holding
Mr.
it for a month.
Tell us,
Thanks for the gift.
all right. You listened last time. Thank you. Thank you. All jokes aside, you know, TVA passes this to us and we have no control over this. So I just like to harass you for the rate adjustments, but you're just the messenger. Any questions? No questions? We're ready for a vote. I got a blank screen. It's my technology this time that's gone haywire. Anyone like to change their votes? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.2, discuss and possible take action on the adjustments of the monthly gas rates of the Springfield Gas Department. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made. We can live with that. It is the time of the year. If you sit up here long enough, you know that this time of the year it's not going to be good. Any questions? No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard. And I know you'll have some discussion on this subject. Questions?
Mr. Martin, what, compared to the offers and the tax appraisals, are most of these close or?
They are, we actually, on the Queen Anne Courthouse, we did very well. The tax appraisal, I believe, and I was just pulling that up, is, I believe, around 120. And so to get a $165,000 offer on the Queen Anne Court home is very well. Now, keep in mind, the tax appraisal doesn't take into account that we will have to replat that subdivision because that house was purchased because of the stormwater issues there. And so in an effort to carve out the piece of the property that is subject to flooding, we'll need to replat the subdivision and shorten the actual parcel itself. On the 9th Avenue building, that's an 18,000 square foot warehouse. The tax appraisal on that is 218,900. So that tax appraisal probably lags behind where the market is, but that building does need some work. It does need a new roof. And that's one of the reasons that we would propose to you all to sell it, is because we've had some issues with our insurance carrier not really wanting to cover that building unless we invest money into a roof. And so, $185,000 is certainly better than some of the other offers we received.
My understanding though, on that size of that building, a roof's gonna probably be $40,000-$50,000.
It would, the first estimate that we received was, and that's what scared us away from really pursuing it, is because we received a $50,000 estimate. I imagine that there might be someone that can find that done cheaper, but we received a $50,000 estimate, and we didn't have that kind of money budgeted to put into it.
And then the Central Avenue,
Central Avenue property, that's a narrow lot. It's a long lot, it's a deep lot, but it's a narrow lot, so $26,000 is a very fair offer.
does it run behind the cemetery or to the?
Yes, it's adjacent to, and the cemetery department has actually been maintaining that lot since the city took it over.
Any other questions? No other questions? Discussion? Ready for a vote? Did any of you have questions down here? Yes, sir.
I would like to possibly renegotiate with Doc Keys on the 185. I think that he might be willing to do 200.
Okay. Any other discussion about that, or want to go further with that, Mr. Gregg?
I'd make a motion that we renegotiate that, but I'm all for taking the other two offers.
So is that an amendment you're making?
I guess that would be.
So you're essentially proposing a counteroffer, Mr. Keys?
Yes.
Okay.
And to take the other two offers?
Correct,
Is that the way we understand it?
correct.
Okay. Hit your button to amend, please. So she can type that in.
I'll take that one.
Okay? We have an amendment, and we have a second. Motion's made by Alderman Gregg and a second by Alderman Hubbard. We'll give her just a second to type that in. If there's questions,
For this building, this is the one that Doc's business currently resides in, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
We currently have a lease agreement with him. The primary agreement has expired, so we're on a month-to-month tenancy with him at this
Got
time.
it. Got it.
At what rate?
$1,500 a month.
okay?
Do we currently have insurance on that building?
Yes, we do.
Liability?
Yes.
Is that basically what it is? And if these properties, at the time they're sold, what's this money go to the general fund? Was it?
So so the 9th Avenue building proceeds would go to the general fund. The Queen Anne Court property would go to the stormwater fund, since that house was purchased out of the stormwater fund. And then I believe the Central Avenue lot is general fund as well.
Okay?
So the amendment is then to accept the other two offers and renegotiate the warehouse building.
For him, for 200. Any other discussion or questions? I want to make sure you understand the amendment. No more discussion? Okay. We're ready to vote on the amendment. I'm back with a screen of... Well, it's my computer tonight. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Back to the main motion as amended. Any more?
I don't think you have a main motion.
Oh, okay. See? Just checking on you, making sure you know what's going on. Okay, we're ready for 3.1. Discuss and possible take
No,
320.
no. The point of order, we back to the main, no, we gotta vote on
We have
the,
a main motion to
the
vote on.
main
We didn't
motion.
have a
I
main
tried that.
motion, we just
There was
moved
a motion to discuss.
Oh,
I tried that and I got corrected by our city manager. And he's right. Thank you for asking. 3.4, discuss and possible take action on the submission in response to the city attorney's solicitation. A motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Discussion. Yes, sir.
Would it be fair for, our attorney to excuse herself while we go with this?
I don't know that we can ask her to do that. Can we?
Can we?
Miss City Attorney?
Can we?
I mean, not,
I don't,
it's, I mean, it's public.
It's-
meeting.
yeah, it's a public
Okay.
meeting.
It's a public meeting.
That's what I'm asking, I'm saying.
Yeah, it's,
Theoretically, she could walk outside and watch the live stream on her phone if she wanted to, so.
Okay.
I understand where Alderman Hubbard's going with that, but this is a public meeting, so.
I'm not gonna say anything bad about it.
thank you.
Okay. What is the pleasure of this board to do with these offers that we have on the table? Do we want to, sir?
It would be my motion that we, exactly how to word it, but to omit 2 of the submissions and to talk with the other 3
Okay.
as far as what their submissions are.
I guess we need to name who those are in your motion.
Or I would make the motion that we set up a time to talk with Batson Nolan,
Uh-huh,
Ben Dean,
uh-huh.
Jerry Converse.
Okay. Vice Mayor Harris has made a motion on the floor to interview Batson and Nolan, Ben Dean, and Jerry Converse.
I'll second that.
Okay?
Hold on, I'm putting it up there.
I made the motion. Well,
He made the motion.
he made the motion,
You can make a second.
I'll make the second, we'll switch it. Is that okay?
Okay? Any discussion about the motion that's on the floor? No discussion or questions?
Comment
Yes, sir.
needs to take place as soon as possible.
ASAP. Okay. And I assume, can we get through this and then pick a date
Yes.
right after this? Okay, any more discussion? No discussion, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote
Arnold.
This is on the amendment, or?
on the motion you
or is it
made?
just a motion, okay.
On the motion.
Okay, would anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, and so now we would get out our calendars, and we have to have enough time for public notice.
We do, yeah. These would be considered public meetings since 2 or more members of the board are involved, so we would have to advertise those, which is not a problem.
So that'd be around the first or second week in February?
We could do that first week,
We're,
the 1st through the 5th.
to be able to get it in,
She's shaking her head.
we could do the 1st or 2nd week of February. when we
Okay.
could get that.
Because we meet on the 16th, so, would the 3rd work for you? Everyone around the table, let's just take that date, and if it doesn't work, we'll move on to another one.
It's on a Wednesday.
Yes.
I'm wide open.
Could we do, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
3, so, are you saying at 1 hour each, so 4, 5, and 6? You want to do them all on one day, or?
I don't know.
I think it would be our preference to do it on one day. I don't know that we need an hour for each one.
Okay.
Maybe 30 minutes for each, or 45?
About 30 minutes ought to be enough.
Sir,
30 minutes should be enough.
I would think 30 minutes.
I think 30 minutes is sufficient.
We could do it at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Do y'all have a problem on that date?
I don't, do y'all? Okay,
So on
On
the
the
3rd,
On the third, okay.
on the 3rd, starting at 5 PM. Everybody put that in their calendar.
I'll get here.
He may be in session.
He's the boss, he just said.
Yeah, he has,
Could we get, since we're interviewing 3 parties and 2 of them aren't here, could we get a backup date so I could try to get?
absolutely.
Because we'll take care of scheduling this, and that way, in case
Here in Jericho.
somebody's not available, we can find a day when.
Okay, so let's look at the 4th. Would you be available on the 4th?
Anytime after one.
Planning Commission is that evening, so this room is
Thank you, sir.
taken.
He's already held his hand up.
What's on Thursday?
How about the 8th? Monday, the 8th.
I cannot on Monday.
I
Okay.
can't even have that date.
How about the 10th?
Well, I'm to the third.
Oh, I can't do the 10th.
We're looking for a backup date, just in case one can't. Yeah,
The
we
9th. Mr. Brewer's already got his hand up again.
What's the name?
BZA, yeah, Board of Zoning Appeals.
But we may, I have to check, we may not have an agenda.
Okay.
Well, the 4th being, you said that's planning commission, but
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't necessarily mean that meeting's gotta take place in this room for us, does it?
Not
We could-
necessarily, we would just have to, so we would have to move it off campus. We don't have another
For COVID.
place and for public access too, because it's
Right.
open to the public.
How about the 11th? I can't do the 10th.
You can't be on the 11th?
The 11th, would that work?
That'll be okay. That's fine.
Does that work for everyone? Same time, if he can't get it scheduled?
Third, okay.
So I have 5 PM on February the 3rd or 5 PM on February the 11th.
And you will let us know.
I will.
Any particular order? Are we gonna set, or are you just gonna?
If you all have a preferred order, if not, I'll take first come, first serve.
So,
We have to get it to the paper by Thursday at noon.
Okay?
Okay.
If it's
by
gonna be
having
the
it on the
3rd.
3rd or the 11th, then it would be able to be on our agenda for the 16th.
Correct.
Yeah, we're going to put a placeholder on the agenda and for February, and so that way it's on the agenda, the agenda item, the interviews don't have to be conducted before the agenda's published, necessarily, so we can, because you know that you're gonna discuss that and the interviews are going to be taking place. So we can go and have the item on the agenda for you to discuss, that way if you make a decision, the motion can be made at the February meeting to do whatever you please.
Okay?
But we're trying our best for the 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, if we could get that knocked out the first week, that would be wonderful.
That'll be the date A, and then date B will be the 11th.
Okay? Ready to move on? 3.5, discuss and possible take action on the appointment to the Construction Board of Adjustment and Appeals. Motion? Motion to discuss. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard. Are there questions?
Did we all lose?
It's on-
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't have that.
It's not on my,
We don't have,
We don't,
we didn't have anything, because they were gonna tell us who.
oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay. And you don't have it?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Travis is
don't
not.
have
Okay,
That's fine.
we'll put that
I
on.
forgot. Yeah, we'll defer that one too.
We'll do that next month. We're gonna
We just
move
don't take a
on.
motion.
Since we have a
What's the
motion
problem?
and second, do we have to vote?
not on, it's not on the, it's not on the
I don't-
agenda.
3.6?
Yeah, 3.5, we don't have an appointment yet. We haven't nailed that down, so we're just
We don't have a
gonna,
name for a motion.
Oh.
Okay. 3.6, discuss and possible take action on the interlocal agreement to provide winter road maintenance. Do we have a motion to
Hold on just a minute.
Okay. I got in a hurry.
No, it's just, it's gotta, I gotta skip it.
Yeah.
You there?
Yes.
Okay, now we're ready for a motion. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Vice Mayor Harris.
ask if we could maintain the roads in the winter, basically salt or tree them when there's winter weather. And so we entered into an agreement, this board entered into an agreement with the Robertson County Highway Department. We first did this about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. and we just renewed it. It's a one-year agreement, basically, for the winter season, and we renew it each year.
Pretty much quit snowing since we went into this.
I don't think we've had to touch either road since it, could be wrong. but-
That's a good point. We need to keep renewing this. Any discussion or questions?
No discussion or questions, but Jeff and my tablets are down.
Yeah, mine is too.
Okay. Just that thing.
Yeah, hit the,
Hey, Kim,
and then
mine's,
hit log in when it comes back up.
there's nothing to push.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Mine's down too.
There you go. Okay. She's up. Or-
I haven't here to vote yet.
Okay. Any other questions? Everybody's computer working?
Ready to vote.
Ready for a vote? Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We're ready for a consent doc.
Without objection, I move take it as one.
Yes, sir. Okay. We don't have to do that as a motion, do we? Yes, we have to do that as a motion. Okay. Vice Mayor Harris has said he would like to take each one as a motion.
Take it as one.
Oh, take it as
Take it as
one.
one.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Any
Second by Alderman.
second by Alderman Green. Any discussion? No discussion? We're ready for vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Like I said before, Mr. Martin gives his city manager's report. I don't know what he's got in his report, and he may be going to mention it too. But on behalf of this board and myself personally, I would like to extend appreciation to Mr. Martin and the Parks Department and every other department that was involved in the Christmas lights at the park. I've heard nothing but wonderful comments and drove through it. Very well done, especially the mask on the reindeer. Good job with your department and every other department that was involved.
It was an excellent job, and it is so nice to hear everyone talk about how much they enjoyed it. And I know, Mr. Martin, you had told me if I was gonna be on the radio, tell people it's gonna be a little different. You kinda scared me a little. It was the best year we've had. So y'all did a great job, but I know a lot of your departments out here, and I'm not gonna call each and every one of you's name, but participate in that. And that is a tradition that we have in the city of Springfield, and not just our citizens of Springfield come and enjoy that, but Robertson County and surrounding counties, and that's just amazing, so thank you. Alderman Trotter, you held your hand up before Mr. Martin gets started.
And Tim may have this in the report also. I just think, I know since we last met, we've had two city employees transition, Lieutenant Watkins and Kerry Woodard. I'd just like to recognize a moment of silence in their recognition, please.
Thank you. We'll have a moment of silence for them.
Thank you.
Thank you. They were tremendous people, and we will miss them. Other comments? I'm going to turn it over to our city manager's first report, Mr. Ryan Martin.
Thank you, and thank you, Alderman Harris and Alderman Trotter. Yeah, the Parks Department did a tremendous job. We have received results from a survey. We conducted a survey from participants this year in Winter Wonderland. It was overwhelmingly positive. It was different this year, but we had a lot of exposure. WKRN Channel 2 was here doing live feeds, so it was a really nice event, and everybody from all of our departments did a great job. Alderman Trotter, you mentioned Kerry Woodard and Lieutenant William Watkins, and we'll certainly miss them. We also want to extend our condolences to Gina Holt and her family. Her father passed away last week, so I think she's watching, so we want to extend our condolences to her as well. Some devastating news to report. I know it's just going to crush all of you, but we're not going to be able to have a strategic planning summit this year.
You won't get your dinner bump,
Well,
Alderman Hubbard.
Oh, I'm losing.
it's not feasible, it's not practical. In examining and evaluating the executive orders of Governor Lee that are currently in place, and how we would conduct a safe strategic planning summit, as well as allow the public that's not attending to hear and see via live stream, it was just virtually impossible. So fortunately, and I guess unfortunately, because of 2020, we did not make a lot of progress towards that strategic plan because of budget cuts, and we brought a very lean budget to you all last year. So we will regroup, and we will continue that progress, and we'll look to do that next year.
One more thing.
Sir.
I think that you commend Dr. Representative Kumar.
Yes.
On the House floor, he encouraged everyone to keep wearing their mask if you have not had COVID, or if you had COVID. To continue wearing your mask, and, you know, he took a bold statement doing that on the House floor, but he did it, so I think he should be commended for it.
Well, and we sometimes forget to thank him for what he's doing down there, and I know you're there each and every day while they're in session, so he's doing a wonderful job. Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Mr. Martin?
Thank you. Also, in a bit of good news, playground construction site work began today at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park. That is going to be a tremendous facility, so the playground site work began today. The walking trails will begin soon. That project is a 180-day project, so we are looking forward to that. That's something the public can be excited about. And hopefully we get to open the splash pad this year with the new playground and the walking trails, and it's just going to be, it'll be very nice. So we're excited about that. You all approved that. And so we're looking forward to that. Utility board training, I'll just remind you all up here about utility board training. I've already received a couple of you. We're compiling annual reports throughout our departments. We'll have the compiled annual report to you by mid-February. And we've begun preliminary budget preparations. Our department heads will be working diligently over the next couple of months. They look so excited. Over the next couple of months, and we'll have the budget to you in April. I do want to congratulate all of our employees on the Years of Service Awards. I've apologized to all of them that we weren't able to recognize them publicly. They understood, but we still appreciate their service. And just remind the public that we do have a citizen newsletter that goes out. We have quite a few subscribers, and it has good information in it, and information that is really beneficial to know for residents. So I would encourage the public to sign up on our website for our citizen newsletter. And that's it. Thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. Yes, sir, Mr.
Yes,
Howard.
I'd just like to say to the public that all veterans that are 65 years of age on up, you can get your COVID shot at the VA in Nashville. I got mine.
Thank you for pointing that out. And I want to tell each of you department heads that are sitting out here tonight, 2020 was a hard year. I thank you for what you've done. We've asked you to do things that we never dreamed we'd be asking and doing ourselves. And I want you to go back to your departments and thank each and every one of your employees. I pray that 2021 is going to be a much better year. And I will also say to the public, if you've not been out to Legacy Golf Course, I see Chet sitting back here and he didn't get to talk about Legacy Golf Course tonight. It looks great. If you hadn't played any golf lately, get out, dust your clubs off, and go see how good the Legacy Golf Course looks. The meeting is adjourned.